Welcome to the SWBL podcast presented by 1356 Public House. My name is Brian Benware, and tonight we have Blake Spencer of the SWBL Rockies joining us for our final captain interview of the captain interview series before season 20. So how you doing, Blake?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, Brian.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man. It's crazy that it's, less than 2 months away now that we're into April, and I think everybody's kind of just raring to go and looking forward to seeing people. And I get the benefit of getting to talk to you guys more regularly now that I'm doing this podcast thing. So thanks for being on. Should be fun tonight. And we're just going to kind of, break down the roster, break down the division, look at some fun storylines for season 20 and, pick your brain and get your thoughts. I mean, you guys are one of the most consistent teams we've ever seen in the SWBL, making the playoffs in every single year of the franchise era. So there's a lot that people could learn from the Rockies, and myself included, as another captain of another team. Like, I'm definitely gonna ask questions just so that I can try to improve my stuff too. So any initial thoughts or anything you want to get out into the world before we get going?
I don't. I'm ready for the questions.
All right, let's jump in. So last season, season 19, you guys went 6-4, making the playoffs, but losing in that wild card game. You were in a really competitive division, having the same exact record as the Astros. And so a lot of tough, close games there. And we've said it every year, and it was the most competitive season we'd seen in a long time. And we're kind of anticipating that with season 20, but just talk about last year, the way it kind of ended, like what the feeling was, kind of at the end of last season for your team.
Yeah. I'm trying to rack my brain. Do you want to give me a refresher on how that ended?
I don't remember how the game ended. I just mean in general, right? I mean, you guys are a team that is always consistently spoken about as as in the running for a championship, and then getting to the playoffs, great, but then losing in the wild card. Was there just a feeling of unfinished business? Was there frustration? Just, I mean, in general, I can't remember how the wild card game went.
Yeah.
Who would that have been? I can't even think of who you played in the wild card. It wasn't the Yankees, the Astros. It would have been the Royals. So you would have lost to the Royals.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's right. So that that would have, our base layer goal last year was to make the playoffs, which would have made 10 straight for the Rockies franchise, which we're extremely proud of to do so. It's pretty consistent, and we're happy with that. But once we got, I remember now, because it was between the wild card of the Royals, or forgot who they were competing with. The Royals made the A's.
Yeah, the A's. There was like a bunch of like tiebreaker things, and it ended up being that like the A's fell 7 runs short of knocking the Royals out of the playoffs. And it was really a run differential aspect for them. So
yeah. I mean, the Royals is just one of those teams you just really never wanted to play. I mean, they're stacked, but the amount of championships that they did have did not equate to how much skill that they actually had.
Yeah,
we never wanted to play them. So, it it wasn't ultra disappointing losing to them, because they're such a solidified team and quality. So it's nothing we never really felt terrible about losing to, but it was hard to walk away with the record and a losing season.
Yeah. Now, this year, Breda's retired. So he's at least going to be away for this season. He obviously has the opportunity and would be welcome back in a heartbeat if he decided to come back. But did you guys know last year he was considering this, or was this something he kind of decided in the off season?
Yeah, we had no idea. It came out of complete nowhere. I think Brian had a better sense of where he was at with that, but I still think it shocked Brian. And I really think it was based around, I guess, the past couple seasons he's seen his, I guess, skill decline. And I didn't see a large enough sample size. It's 1 weekend out of the year, so there's natural fluctuations in skill level. So like, I didn't really see it as a decline at all, but I guess he took it as that, and he's just walking away with that, which is fine. We totally respect the decision. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think many people around the league would have looked at it as a decline. Even if you were to pull up stats and look into it and dive into it, like, Breida has been one of the more consistent performers. And then especially on a team that's so consistent. And, you think of the Rockies and you think of the three of you and Grant. And, so it's a bit of a new look for the Rockies. It's kind of crazy in the sense that we're going into another, like, we're ending a decade of it, but I mean, really going into a second decade of franchise era. And the Yankees have a new look, and now the Rockies have a new look, and those are the only two remaining original franchises. And so it just kind of, I don't know, ironic that it's kind of leading into a new era of Rockies Wiffleball alongside this, another historic franchise.
yeah, it really is. And I think among probably many others is that season 20 is going to be the best of them all, with a whole fresh look of teams. It's not going to be your standard year where you're expecting this of this division, and it's going to be completely random. There's going to be shock teams. We're ultra excited for it.
Yeah. Well, let's excuse me. Let's dive into your new look roster, and it's not completely new. We've got a lot of familiar faces. Yourself, Brian Kenny, of course, out in left field, Grant Boyd being a part of the franchise forever, and then Chad Young returning again after his really, really strong rookie season on the mound for you. And then you added two rookies with a lot of wiffle ball experience, and also with, I wouldn't say SWBL experience, but similar style and playing in the summer league. So they're not as foreign to it as maybe some of the other fast pitch league players that we've seen come in and play in the past. So they have a little bit of that experience. So, you draft two rookies in Adam North and Jason, Worstenholm. Did I say that right?
I never asked Jason how to pronounce his last name. Okay. So
we're going with Worstenholm.
We'll go with Jason W.
Yeah. So you bring in two more rookies. So you've drafted three rookies in the last, 2 years. And so, again, losing Breida and then having a bit of a new look, like what do you think makes this year's team maybe better than last year's team?
So we'll start with Adam. I played summer ball with him, summer wiffle ball, and then I also played Mo with him. I didn't see him pitch much in fast pitch, but medium pitch, he did really well. Tall left-hander pitcher, and seems like left-handed pitchers have definitely the advantage when you're playing against that curvature all weekend, and you're used to that curve. Adam performed really well pitching, so he will be great in the pitching roster. Chad put on a good display last year, very good display.
Yeah,
for his first year especially. Put some good pitches on the mound. Brian, summer league, hit really well. So that's something I'm keeping my eye on, and I'm ultra excited about seeing how he performs at the plate.
Yeah.
This Grant is the definition of consistent, where you can always rely on him at the plate. Just never has not a good at bat, all consistent. Jason, I played Mo with him, and he mashes the ball. I don't know if you've seen him hit.
Haven't, no.
But he sends some towers. He's got a baseball background. He's played baseball his entire life. He's around the game, and he's ultra competitive too. Both him and Adam, we brought in ultra competitive spirits, which is just what we want.
Yeah.
And then, we're just excited about the season.
Yeah. Well, and the competitiveness, that'll fit right in. I mean, the Rockies are a fun team to play against, and the guys are awesome to be around. But, there's definitely a different character that comes across all of you whenever you're getting into a game. And especially a close game. Like you guys focus in really hard, and so that competitive nature is going to fit right in with, the character of a team that you've built over the past 10 years. I didn't know Adam was a left-handed pitcher. I actually don't think, even in the summer league games that I played in, I don't think I actually was at the week that we played, his team. I think that was the one week I had to miss. So I don't think I ever really got to see him pitch. But the fact that he's a lefty, and then, that's something we're going to see more of this year too. Obviously, Will Rath has been the kind of front runner when it comes to a southpaw pitcher for a long time. But, you bring in Adam as a rookie this year as a southpaw, and then the A's draft Evan Quo, also a lefty. So we're going to see a lot more left-handed pitching this year. So a bit of a new look for, obviously going into season 20, a lot more competitive. But, you were talking through Adam and obviously Chad. Chad led your team in every statistical category on the mound last year. But Grant Boyd, in his history, has been a really good pitcher for you too. I think even one year going 4-1 or 5-1, having some success. You obviously have had a lot of success on the mound as well. So your pitching depth is really deep. If everybody pitches up to the standard that, you're kind of expecting, or at least the way you can envision it. So how are you going to kind of handle the rotation there? Like, are you taking a step back? Are you just going to kind of rotate through, pick, matchups to decide on? How is that going to happen?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say top two pitchers right now being Chad and Adam. From there, I know Jason is a quality fast pitcher, like really quality. Him and Spencer on MoWiff for our top speed pitchers, and I don't know how the medium pitch is going to translate to. The fast pitch is going to translate to medium pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he'll be solid one way or another. I don't know if he'll be number 3. I'd imagine I'd be number 3 from there. But, in wiffleball in a short season, I don't even know if number 3 will come into play.
Right.
But pretty much everybody but Brian, it really has the pretty good ability to pitch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it would be nice to just say, hey, these are the 2 we're going to roll with. But then, if you get into a game where maybe that first inning goes really poorly or something, you have the ability to be flexible with your lineup, so you can keep the same people hitting that you want to keep hitting potentially, by just maybe rotating positions, pulling somebody from the field into pitch or whatever. So that's going to be a nice added advantage for the Rockies, because not everybody has that, where they have a pitcher who they're going to let hit every time, or have the flexibility to, take a pitcher and put him in the field, or pull somebody from the field in without having to kind of basically pull somebody from the game entirely. So that's going to be a big advantage as a captain for you. I can see that if those circumstances come up. Before we kind of bump off of the roster, I did want to shout out the fact that, 2 of your remaining 4 from last year did make the top 20, yourself coming in at 8 and Brian coming in at 19. Didn't want to leave that kind of out there, but, not a lot of teams, there are only a few teams that had multiple players. And so even though you've got a bit of a new look, you still have a lot of that talent returning. And again, that talent has been the reason you guys have been in the playoffs every year.
Yeah. That was, I think Brian's hoping to get closer to top 15 after this year, and I believe it.
Yeah. One thing, speaking of Brian, one thing that's been talked about on these podcasts is the approach to fielding that certain captains have. And some feel it's obviously very important, and some feel that unless you're Brian Kenny or Chris Metter, it really doesn't make a difference. What are your thoughts? Obviously you have Brian, you've had Brian for a long time. Do you feel that Brian's play in left field, and even your fielding in right field, and Grant in right field, do you feel like fielding actually does make a difference in this league?
Yeah. I believe it does. It's somewhat contingent on how tight of a race you're in. it definitely makes a difference, but definitely dependent on how close toe to toe with playoff hopes you are. I think it's somewhat obvious that your impact at the plate is more impactful than fielding, just probably by a small margin. But um, yeah, but it's certainly important.
Yeah. I've always felt like specifically left field obviously makes a huge difference. I mean, if you look back at the history of our league and the past however many champions, um, they've had, I mean, Expos aside, and nothing to take away from your brother or anything like that, but it's not like people are sitting out there going, man, Brett is a top 3 fielder in the league. Besides that, I mean, it's Chris Metter and Brian Kenny and John Callaway that have won championships. And those are, 3 of the top 4 fielders in left field over the past decade. So to me, from the outside and looking to try to build a roster that can win a championship, it certainly feels like fielding does make a big difference, especially, in those really tight races, like you said, that tend to happen in the playoffs. The championship game was won on a walk-off last year. So I don't know. I guess that's my 2 cents. There's not really a question in there for you.
Yeah.
Just maybe adding to the fact that I believe that fielding does make a difference. And congratulations on having one of the best ones in the league, man. Oh, you froze. Sorry.
Sorry.
You're good. I was like, oh man, I lost you.
You said congratulations on having, I'm guessing,
I've just said congratulations on having one of the best fielders in the league.
Yeah, it feels great. It feels nice having Brian out there in left field. Yeah. Just I don't know if you've put your hands up next to his, but oh yeah, they're pretty
huge mitts.
Yeah, they're huge.
Really?
Yeah,
he's so fun to watch. I'm such a fan of BK. He's just, Chris is so, I don't know. I don't want to call him robotical because he's really creative at times too, and he just makes all the plays. But Brian, it feels like I remember so many runs he's stolen. He's all over the place. He's quick, but he's also like kind of wild at the same time. And I'm just a huge fan of BK's.
Yeah, and you know what? Like Brian's so good at, Brian's a core hockey player.
Oh, okay.
But his hockey skills, like you kind of underestimate how much weight balance is translated. Like as a hockey player, that probably takes the number one like personal body balance of any sport there is. And like when you're dealing with a small wiffle field, that probably translates really well to like jumping over the fence and stuff like that.
Or dealing with the hill, like having to deal with the slope of the hill. That's a cool thought too, because we've always talked about, for whatever reason, soccer players have been good at wiffle ball. And we've talked about the soccer backgrounds of a lot of our players, but nobody really ever talks about hockey, and how some of those skills can translate to wiffle ball. So pretty interesting to hear that too. So, and then finally, I had mentioned Chad led you guys in every statistical category pitching. You led the team in every statistical category in hitting last season. So, was it maybe just more of a down year for Grant and BK, or how are you going to try to get more production from the rest of your team?
That's a really good question. I did feel like last year the offense was, subpar. It wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, in summer ball, Brian looked really, really good, and Grant usually does really good as well. And these seasons are just short, so like anything could happen on a unsustainable weekend versus a whole summer. So it's just kind of, sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's skill, but hopefully everybody comes together. And Adam, Jason, they're all quality hitters, so should be a good one.
Should be a good turnaround. So, well, let's jump into season 20 in your division here. You were in the Ketty Nye Centers division along with the Twins and the Marlins. So, what were your initial thoughts? I know you were at the draw, and we probably got some comments right after you guys selected the division, but what were your initial, thoughts once the full division shook out? Because you guys were a tier 2 team. So
I thought it was good. We are in Astros and Marlins, correct?
no, Twins and Marlins.
Oh, we're in Twins and Marlins. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why I thought it was
that. Well, so you've been in the Astros division for 1, 2, 3 years. So we've played each other twice a year for the past 3 years. So it'd be easy to just kind of default to that, because that's in a sense been, I don't want to call it the rivalry like the Brewers, but in the sense, like, I mean, that's been the division. I mean, even last year we were talking about, nobody realized it, but like the Brewers or the Astros, the Rockies, and the Expos had been in the same division for 2 years in a row. So yeah, you just play the Astros a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I thought that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I thought the division draw was good. I mean, this year is going to be completely random. Like, there's so much good talent on a lot of different teams. You have no idea what to expect. I'm pretty excited for every team. I think it's going to be a close race between a good amount of teams.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see a bunch of 6-4, 5-5, maybe 7-3 be the top record going into the playoffs, and everybody just being 4-6, 5-5, 6-4, and it just be a battle going into going into Monday, where Sam has done a really nice job of scheduling a ton of division games right at the end of the season. So those games are even more important than they probably ever have been on Monday. Monday used to be the day where the playoff teams knew they were in the playoffs, and you just finish your regular season, get prepared for the playoffs. And now it's becoming a thing where if things shake out the way a lot of people are thinking it will be, those games on Monday are going to be really impactful. So, speaking of the schedule, have you had a chance to look at it? What were your thoughts? Did you notice the Monday thing, or?
I knew we play. I knew Sam was purposely planning it so there'd be some close races there. I haven't had a chance to look at it fully.
Okay, so I've got it here. So on Monday you play the Twins at 8:45, and that's your only game Monday. You're pretty evenly spread out compared to some other teams. You got one game Friday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're one of the more evenly spread out teams from a schedule standpoint, probably because I would imagine you didn't have hardly any scheduling conflicts, which is part of the reason some teams have multiple games Monday, or are crammed into half a day, a different day. So you have the benefit of it being pretty, like I said, not huge breaks, but at the same time, like consistent, steady. And then again, that last game against the Twins, which, a lot of people are saying that's going to be could be the game that decides that division between the two of you.
Just as importantly, we play Orioles Friday night. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. Your first game of the season is the Orioles too. So,
okay. Yeah. And we all know how key momentum is in the first game on a Friday night. That'll be a huge one.
Yeah.
First game of the series versus a new franchise like the Orioles will be just a ton of fun.
Yeah, and it'll be a good measuring stick, I think, for the Orioles and for your new look team too, because a lot of people are high on the Orioles this year with the talent that they've put together. Obviously, your brother and Sam and PG and Peter and John, and then obviously you guys being one of the most, if not the most consistent team in the past 10 years that we've seen. I think that's going to be a good measuring stick for both of your teams to say, okay, this is maybe where we're at and where we have to go. And it'll be a good battle to have on opening night.
It will. It's going to be interesting watching Orioles. I think they're going to be a quality team.
Yeah. Yeah. So the power rankings just came out too. at least from a hitting, fielding, and pitching standpoint. And I've also been asking I'll ask these questions to you here in a minute, but one of the questions that I ask everybody is who's going to win the championship, or who's going to win each division, and all these things. And your team has probably been the most unknown, or not wild card team, but wild card. I've had captains pick the Rockies to win the championship, and I've had people pick them to miss the playoffs entirely. And then, your hitting and your pitching and fielding ranks kind of echo that sentiment. You came in that order: hitting 6th, pitching 7th, and fielding 3rd. So, what are your thoughts about the way you got ranked, at least when it comes to the facets of our game?
Yeah. I would tend to say offense hopefully should be in the top 4. Pitching hopefully should be in the top 5. I think that's a fair assessment. 6 and 7 is a little deep.
I think there's a little bit of the fact that Breida left, right? Breida's been one of your main 2 pitchers for a long time, and the fact that he's not there. And while we've seen Adam pitch, or a lot of the guys have, there's still an aspect of like, well, we haven't seen him do it in the actual league quite yet. So, and then at the same time, like Chad had a great year, like we said, but he was still 1 year. We haven't had a huge sample size of him yet either. So maybe that's what led into it. But I would agree, if your pitchers play to their ability and everything that you've talked about, yeah, there's no reason you wouldn't put them, put yourselves 4, 5 at the lowest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, hitting wise, I'm optimistic that we'll far surpass last year's numbers.
Yeah.
Very optimistic about that. I don't think it's hard to beat last year's numbers. It was just a pretty pitiful offensive showing. Mm-hmm. And then pitching wise, we're always pretty decent, but it's nothing that you'd rank us in the top 3 for pitching. I think Adam has a lot to prove. I think he's already proved it, that he can be a top tier pitcher, but it's a short sample size. It's a summer. Mm-hmm. But I have extra strong faith in both him and Chad to carry the team in pitching.
Yeah. And then fielding came in at 3rd. What was any thoughts? Do you feel that's right, fair, wrong?
That's probably fair, just considering, I'll be the right fielder. Mm-hmm. So I haven't fielded that much in the past few years, and we've had, Breida in right field and Brian in left. But I feel like I am a pretty good fielder.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, it's not like, you would play the field when Breida pitched, or sometimes Grant would too, but it's not like people see you out in right field and think, oh, there's a big hole or something like that. So yeah, I would agree with that. And I think Brian alone, I've given him glowing reviews tonight, but he by himself keeps you in that top 2, top 3 discussion at all times.
Yeah, he does. Him and his big old hands.
Yeah. So, after these captain interviews are finalized, we're going to be publishing the overall ranks, right? From 1 to 9 as a team. So where do you think the Rockies will get ranked? So do you feel that's fair? Where do you feel they should be? Where you should be ranked too?
So let me just bring up these teams. I'll give you a real quick top 9. Okay. I'll say I'll give you, let's go with White Sox as number 1.
White Sox. Okay. Yeah. Brand new franchise.
Let's give them number 1. We'll go with Twins number 2. We'll go with Orioles number 3. We'll go with Rockies number 4. Yankees number 5. Astros 6. Expos. No, I think Astros are going to be better than Yankees this year. We'll go with that. We'll switch that and we'll go as Expos last.
Okay. So then you got the A's and the Marlins somewhere right above them.
Yeah. Sorry.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could see it shaking out that way. The Yankees, I get, are also a bit not an unknown, but again, they're a new look team. And while they've got one of the better players in the league in Gus coming in, they only have 4. So, it's kind of ride and die with the same lineup every time. So, like you said, it's a short weekend. If you slump for a couple games, that can end your season pretty quickly. So,
yeah, man, Gus is going to be, Yankees are going to be deadly on offensively. All seeing all those at bats and just all like top tier hitters, they're going to put some numbers on the board.
Yeah. And we were talking, when I was talking to Scott, we were joking, but it's also going to almost create a whole different fence to hit over because of how tall the entire team is, too. So you're just going to have to hit it that much higher in the air.
Yeah. Well, talking about Yankees pitching, so they have Gus, I guess, is number 1. Scott is number 2.
Yeah. And I think that, you could probably throw Kevin if you wanted to, but I don't think they ever will.
Yeah, the team's going to be good regardless. I guess I would. If Gus is, they're kind of relying on those 2 pitchers. It's not. Maybe I'll have to bend Gus's arm a little bit, get it all sore.
Yeah, keep his little sleevey out away from him last year.
Yeah.
So, well, since we've been talking about the Yankees, let's look at that division real quick. I'm gonna ask you to pick a winner for that division. So, in the Corner Pub and Grill division, you got the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Expos.
I'm gonna go with White Sox.
White Sox. Yeah, John has built a really good team over there of a lot of his friends, but also a lot of really good players that have been in the league for a while now too. So it's going to be fun to watch them play. And then same thing in the Cardinal Blinds and Shutters division, you've got the Astros, the Athletics, and the Orioles. So who would you have winning that one?
Orioles.
All right, now let's jump back to your division and go ahead and pick a winner. So again, Twins, Rockies, Marlins.
Okay. I'm going to have to go with Rockies here.
Okay, Rockies. All right, and then finally pick your final 2 wild card teams. So you have already in the playoffs the Orioles, the White Sox, and the Rockies. So who would your final 2 wild cards be?
So I'd go with Yankees, and I would go with Twins.
Okay. So you got 2 coming out of 2 different divisions there, which is pretty standard. Usually you don't have all 3 teams making it from one division. So that's kind of going to wrap up everything about season 20 that I had. And we're going to jump into the unknown, which is and this is a rapid fire division. So I've got 10 questions, just rapid fire. You can add or talk about anything that, if you want to add to it. But just something for fun and get to know you a little bit better and the team a little bit better. Okay.
Okay.
What is the final record for the Rockies in season 20?
8-2.
8-2. Woo! Running away with it. All right, let's go.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, just speak it into existence. I like it. Yeah. Who will the team MVP be in season 20?
Brian Kenny.
Favorite 2000s song?
Oops, I did it again.
Let's go. Who will lead the league in strikeouts in season 20? As a pitcher.
PG.
I like that. He was 2 years ago when he played. He was what? Top 2, top 3 for MVP, and he's in the discussion for Cy Wiffle too. He had a great year that year and took a year off and now is coming back and on a loaded roster with pitchers. But yeah, I could, he's definitely got the ceiling for it for sure.
If I'm picturing PG, I'm picturing like the Rockies, like, the Rocky Balboa, where like I'm picturing him in the off season for like 2 years, just like playing to the
Yeah, and
whatever that
just
song is,
hammering away
like
at dead cows and
boxing
stuff. Yeah,
and just pitching against a backstop. I'm sure he's going to be rearing to go here
yeah,
in 5 or 6 weeks.
yeah. We're looking forward to seeing PG back at the field for sure. Um, who is your favorite team to play against?
um, I mean, in the past, I would say the Brewers, but like the present, um, I mean, I would say at this point the Orioles will be the most fun to play against.
Yeah.
Just brother v brother,
Mm-hmm.
and new franchise, and considering I was going to join the team.
Really? Breaking a little bit of rumor and everything. There was consideration for you to step down as the captain and be an Oriole, huh?
There was I was racking my brain. They gave me several weeks to think about it, and I thought it'd be fun. And I guess just kind of last minute, I was like, you know what, let's just. And it wasn't any reason that I wanted to leave the Rockies,
Right.
but it was more I'm a fan of switching up, having a liquid league and having, everything like that. So yeah, I was considering it, but I decided to stay and draft two guys and kind of have I love the Rockies.
Yeah. Well, it would make sense. Obviously, Brett being on the team and you're really close and grew up with all those guys. They're all really good buddies of yours, and so it makes sense. Like if that had happened, everybody'd be like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, I remember all those years when Brett played with the Rockies. Like you guys had so much fun playing together, and I'm sure there's an aspect of wanting to get back together again at some point, in the future too. So,
Yeah.
but it's fun to hear that was a possibility, and what if. But I also think it'll really make that opening day game that much more fun, and hopefully in your case, if it goes your way, they're going to be sitting there going, man, I really wish we had gotten him over here. So
Yeah, right.
Your favorite place to order lunch during the season?
Taco Bell.
Sorry, what?
No, not Taco Bell. What's the sandwich place?
Jimmy John's?
Not Jimmy John's. They don't toast their subs.
Subway?
It's not Penn Station. God. I don't know what that place is
Firehouse?
called.
Firehouse subs?
Starts with a G.
Joya's?
Joyas. Isn't that a J?
No, it's a G. It's a G.
Joyas. I've never heard of that.
Good Sense.
Good Sense.
Good Sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah, but Joya's is Gio. So I run into Jackson Crosley at Joya's all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just randomly. We work in a similar area, and I'll just go there one day to grab a sandwich, and he'll be in there waiting for his. So yeah. Who will lead the league in RBIs in season 20?
Gus.
All right, you're hosting a movie night for the team. What movie do you show?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so choose one and give up two. So I'm going to give you three things, and you can only keep one of them: the pool, alcohol, or your batting gloves.
Wow, that was cleverly crafted question.
Thank you.
I was thinking I cannot give up the first two. What is this third going to be? Then I was like, wow, he actually tempted me. I'd have to give up the batting.
You have to give up two, so you can only keep one of the three.
Physically in the pool?
Yeah, physically in the pool.
I'll go with the pool.
Okay, so you're giving up the pool. You still got to give up either batting gloves or alcohol, though.
I'll give up the alcohol.
All right. a very serious and sober Blake. And last question, who wins the championship in season 20?
Well, clearly with an 8-2 Rockies, we're going to go with the Rockies, especially after we get off that Friday night high beating the real Orioles 10-0.
Yes. Oh, what a great night. And being at the after party or at the social event that night, man, that would be a lot of fun. I mean, you could just see the Rockies just strutting around the whole place the whole time. So
it's just strutting.
Yeah. Well, so that's going to wrap up this episode of our captain's interview. Real quick, one final time, I want to thank all of our sponsors, 1356 Public House, Brex, Reuben Brown, Ketty Nye Center, Corner Pub and Grill, Cardinal Blinds and Shutters, Breckenridge Brewery, Logix, High Road Craft Ice Cream, STL Cycle Saloon, Lion's Choice, Sticker Mule, Amp Up Action Park, Andy's Frozen Custard, and Daily Smokehouse. Thank you, Blake, for being on here and getting to talk wiffleball with me. It's been great talking to you and seeing you, even if it's not quite in person, but at least seeing your face. And guys, stay tuned. We're going to have a few more podcasts before the league and before the season hits. We're going to have our alumni game draft. We're going to have a fantasy wiffleball podcast and a season preview coming. So any final thoughts, Blake? Any final words you want to get out in the world?
No, I very much appreciate you having me on, and you're just getting me pumped up to see you and everybody in 6 weeks.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for it. I'm looking really forward to it. I think we're all really, especially as the warmer weather hits, we're all getting really antsy for it. So it'll be fun to get to see you guys and hang out again. So everybody stay safe out there. If you've been enjoying this series and our podcast, please like and subscribe and tell your friends about it. But we will be back with another episode of the SWBL podcast very soon. So stay tuned. All right. Thanks, guys.